Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Disgustingly Resilient podcast, and in this episode we're going to be going through our unit datasheet deep dive. We're going to be looking at all the non-character units in our codex, talk about them in detail, what's good about them, what's bad about them, and whether you should be considering them in your lists. Now if you do like the content on the channel, please feel free to leave a like and a subscribe. It really helps the content on the channel grow, not the content grow. I mean both technically. But if you also really want to support the channel, you can consider becoming a Plague Marine member. Hit the join button in the description below. There's also a link in the description. And you can join our Discord with that. You get access to our giveaways, all sorts of goodies, and joining the awesome community that we have built there, which is really, really the best part about all of this. But without further ado, let's get into it. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be looking at each unit, the overview. We're not going to have all the stats on the screen because a lot of you will have your codexes soon. You don't need to know every single thing. We all know after a while we're going to learn Terminators toughness 7, etc. So what we're going to do is going to point out any very relevant stats, and we're going to point out any very relevant abilities. Talk about some potential synergies between any of them. Give my overall personal rating of the unit, if they stand out in any specific detachments, and once again, just like in the character one, we're going to have all the images on here provided by members of the Disgustingly Resilient podcast Discord community. So everything you see here has been painted by our community, which is awesome. It's a great way for me to hopefully give a little bit back to those who support the channel. So I really appreciate it. It's got to be Plague Marines to start, hasn't it? The bread and butter of any Plague Legion. Plague Marines. I am very big on Plague Marines at the moment. I really, really like them. I think there's many cool ways to run them in this book. And the fact that they got toughness 6 is like an extra little pip of toughness on there makes me like them a lot more. I know one thing we've got to talk about is toughness 6 does not make them unkillable. It really doesn't. But it changes the maths on a lot of guns, so it makes them a bit more durable than they were before, which is obviously good, like heavy bolters, stuff like that now wounds them on 5s. Obviously you don't get doubled out by strength 10, which is like battle cannons and stuff no longer wound you on 2s, they wound you on 3s, which is really nice. And anything small arms fire, it really annoyed me. Lasguns used to wound Plague Marines the same as they would wound a normal Marine, whereas now they need 6s because we can double them out. And then obviously we have certain detachments like Champions of Contagion where we can buff that up to toughness 8, which is obviously a big break point then. We have things like Power Fist now wounded on 4s instead of the 2s or 3s. So it's really good. Now, on top of this, they come in 5, 7 or 10 man squads. I actually think for the first time ever, all these are viable. 5-mans are still great as just, hold an objective, do some actions, shoot something, put it in affliction. But you've also got to remember, even in our 5-mans, we can still take, 2 plasma guns, 3 power fist equivalents, 2 robotic weapons, stuff like that. You get a lot of special weapons in our 5-mans, and especially compared to any other battle line in the game, we by far have access to the most special weapons. Every single guy can take a special weapon. It's kind of crazy. Now, the 7-man squad size gives you a little bit of a discount on it. It's only like 10 points or so, but it gives you technically a discount per model, which is nice. You don't get to double up on your special weapons, but as I said, our squad can take so many naturally anyway. You can still fill out the squad with, 2 plasma guns, 2 heavy plague weapons, 3 heavy plague weapons, 2 heavy plague weapons, power fist on the sergeant because it's not a heavy plague weapon anymore, it's a power fist. 2 robotic weapons, 1 plague spear, 1 blight launcher, stuff like that. You can still make sure every single model in there has a special weapon, and that's really good. That again, it gives you a bit of power, and if you add characters into that, so right now I'm very much big on 7-man squads in Champions of Contagion with a Malignant Plaguecaster. It keeps them fairly cheap, doesn't break the bank. It's like 195, 185. And you can still always use the stratagem to give them crit 5s, which lets them punch up quite heavily, and that obviously will then click into the lethals and the sustains in close combat, which is really nice. And then you can go all the bells and whistles in the 10-man, lets you double up on all of the 5-man restrictions. So you've got 3 plasma guns now, you've got 4 heavy plague weapons and a power fist, you've got 4 robotic weapons, 2 spears, 2 blight launchers, whatever you want. So it lets you really make the most powerful squad out of this that you can. It does get expensive though, but it is really good and it can put out a lot of damage. Now you have tons of good leaders for these guys as well. We're talking Foul Blightspawn to give them fight first, Biologist Putrefied to give them lethal and crit 5s on all the guns and melee. You've got Malignant Plaguecaster to give them sustain. Technically, you can do Plague Surgeon with Needle of Nurgling, Champions of Contagion, and Resurrect D3 a turn. There's lots of good things that this unit can make use of, and there's a lot of room to play around with those characters, but the most common combinations you're going to see are going to be the 3 main characters: the Foul Blightspawn, the Biologist Putrefier, and the Malignant Playcaster. Biologist Putrefier MP and Playcaster is the most damaging combo. The Foul Blightspawn, though, adds in some great defensive play as well, so don't forget about him. Now, as I said, you can take tons of special weapons in this squad, which means you can punch up a lot harder, and it lets you customize the squad. You can go a full melee squad with like 2 flamers if you wanted to, so you can have 4 robotic weapons, 4 heavy plague weapons, Sergeant's got the power fist, and then you can fit a flamer in there. Maybe you swap out one of the other weapons for another flamer, and have a really killy melee squad that's incredibly scary for anyone to face. My personal preference, however, is to, when you build them, I have half and half, so I bring some guns and some melee because I want this unit to be active in multiple phases. I want to be able to get out a Rhino, shoot a unit to death, charge and kill another unit. Because they're quite expensive, I need to make sure they get all that value as much at once. So when they can hop out a Rhino, I can kill something, charge something, grenade something if I need to, and just get the maximum efficiency out of it. Now, the one rule with Plague Marines: never take bolt guns. Bolt guns are literal dog shit. Never, ever, ever, in the way 10th is, where you don't pay upgrades for weapons, you don't pay points for any weapons, never take a bolt gun. The only time you ever consider the bolt gun is if you want to take the Icon of Despair, because it has to have a bolt gun, and you want to play around with leadership shenanigans. Par that, do not take a bolt gun. Terrible. But I'm really high on these guys right now. They are definitely a lot harder to play than the Terminators because they're a lot squishier, but the actual damage output you can get out of these guys is ludicrous. You're talking Virulent Vectorum with full rolls to hit and wound, crit 5s with sustained lethal. You can pick up like 3 units easy. You split fire, shoot 2 units to death, charge 1, kill that one. It is crazy. I am super high on Plague Marines right now. They're the best in Virulent Vectorum and in Champions of Contagion, but there's also play for them in the other detachments. I just think they're the 2 best for them. Great unit, super fun to play with, and such an iconic unit. Poxwalkers. Poxwalkers are interesting. Oh, now the stats obviously at the top, they are obviously based on their points. So whereas you see that these guys have a 50% durability, they're obviously a lot less durable than a Plague Marine at 55, but it's relevant to their points. So for their points, for 60 points for the 10 guys and the 5 up Feel No Pain, it's honestly not too bad. They're annoying to shift for what they are, so just bear that in mind. Now, obviously, toughness 4, 5 up Feel No Pain. They're not impossible to kill. They're quite... most things can blitz for them. But the 5 up Feel No Pain can sometimes really throw off an opponent. We saw it in the VT game where Dave managed to tank both squads of Warp Spiders and both squads of Poxwalkers because his 5 up Feel No Pain just rolled a little bit hotter than it should. And now suddenly they're not dead. So they're really good because Feel No Pain is, again, it's an unrenderable, it's an unAPable save. Obviously damage against it is not good, but people don't want to be putting damage 2+ into Poxwalkers. Now the good thing about Poxwalkers, they bring Infiltrate. Infiltrate gives you board control early. You can start anywhere on the board 9 inches away from enemy and enemy deployment zone. This is really good because if you play like Virulent Vectorum and you start the game on an objective and you get first turn, you sticky it. Brilliant, excellent. It also means you can deny opponents' scout moves because you can't finish a scout move within 9 inches of an enemy unit. So you just deploy them 9 inches away from your opponent's scout, shut that down completely. And you also, if you get the first drop, deny your opponent infiltration. So they can't infiltrate where you infiltrate. So you can shut that down as well. Really nice, cheap, expendable unit. Do early actions, get in the way, block people, tie people up. But don't expect them to be going out there and doing like tons of kills and tying stuff up for too long. They do die rather relatively quickly. And they don't hit very hard. They have 2 attacks that hit on a 5. They have lethals, and you can obviously take -1 save, but naturally they're AP 0, so don't expect to be killing many guys. However, anyone they do kill does let you regrow models, and there is some absolute nonsense you can do with that, with like tagging certain things, where you return them, make charges easier, etc. They have a bit of synergy with Typhus as well, because Typhus's mortal wound ability will regrow Poxwalkers if it kills models. So really, if you're going to use these guys, you're going to take them in 10 mans to just infiltrate, get a bit of board control, do some early actions, get in the way and die. If you're going to run 20 mans, you're probably running something like Shamble or Vectorum, or you've got a very specific purpose for it, like with Typhus, for example. And if you're in a meta full of lots of toughness 3 squishy infantry spam, like Guard, these guys can actually get quite a bit of value, because those are units they genuinely can actually kill, hurt. And I've had 10 Poxwalkers get shot down to like 4 guys, those 4 guys charge, bit of lucky rolling, I kill 3 guys back, and up to 7, the guardsmen kill like 1 back in melee, and it just carries on until I eventually chew through them. And if you bring Typhus along, that gets even worse. But I honestly think most lists are probably going to include at least 2 units of poxwalkers just for the utility they bring. They're not 100% needed. I know some people don't run them and opt for the second option, which we'll look at soon, which is Chaos Spawn. But I really like them. They're cheap, 60 points. I don't think you take 20 mans unless you're dedicating it to Typhus or a very dedicated detachment. So just keep them cheap, keep them just scoring an action. If these guys score 1 action, 1 secondary for you, and then die, brilliant. If they move, block some up for a turn, then die, more than got the value back. Don't worry about it. Good unit though, good unit. Blight Lord Terminators. So these guys are a chunky hunk of meat. They are toughness 7 like all our Terminators are, but these guys are 3 wounds with 2 up and a 4 up invulnerable. Pretty good defensively, that's pretty nice profile to be at. Toughness 7 is a pretty nice break point. You're no longer getting doubled out by strength 12, and you're also going to be more resistant to quite a lot of the strength 6 melee that's in the game. And again, Champions of Contagion taking that to 9 is an incredible break point against lots of strength 8 that you see in close combat these days, like Power Fists. So they're in a good position to be using Champions. Now, they have damage to AP2 melee now, which can obviously be AP3 -1 save. They do only hit on 3s and have 3 attacks each, so they don't have much quantity, but when they do connect, strength 5 is okay, so they're going to struggle against, you know, fighting monsters and vehicles, more so than Death Shroud will, but against most regular infantry of the game, they're a great bully unit, as I'd say. They go against things that are weakening them and they bully the shit out of them. You can easily run into, you know, 10 power armored marines and just chop them up, no problems. But they're going to struggle a bit more when you start coming across the harder to kill stuff like, you know, the Custodes, the Terminator equivalents. They're going to struggle a little bit more than usual. They'll still get through them, but it won't be as quick as something like Death Shroud would. However, what these guys have over the Death Shroud is a bit more impactful shooting. So instead of having all the anti-infantry flamers, these guys can take, obviously, combi bolters. You can take combi weapons if you want to do some dev wound farming, which you can do in some of the detachments. You can reroll full hits and wounds with combi weapons. You can get, on average, like 8 dev wounds out of them into infantry, which is nothing to scoff at. It's pretty decent. You can also take Blight Launchers, Reaper autocannons, which also have dev wounds on them, so you can get more devs there. And then you can also take the spewers, so you can have some anti-infantry 2 up flamers to Overwatch with, which is really, really nice. Now, their rule states the following. If the unit started the game as a 5-man squad or higher, doesn't matter what their current strength is, so if they've lost a few guys, doesn't matter. As long as they started the game with 5 or 10 guys, or they're currently being led by a character, so a 3-man squad can get this rule if it's being led by a character, because you can take them in 3s for reasons. You get +1 AP and strength to your shooting attacks when you shoot at something that is afflicted. Now that's actually quite impactful. Strength 5 bolters, 5 is quite important, gets over the 4 leeway, which is really nice, but really the AP is the magic thing there. It brings your Reaper autocannon to strength 8, your Blight Launcher to strength 7, you're going to get the extra AP, so now the Reaper autocannon is like going to be AP3 if you're in contagion range of -1 save. The same with the Blight Launcher, the Flamer goes to AP3 if you're in -1 save contagion, because it goes from 1 plus the -1 save, and then gets the rule on top of it to AP3. So they can actually have quite high AP, high volume, low damage shots, which isn't actually pretty bad. It's pretty good. So you combine this with any form of rerolls with like Lord of Virulence or some of the stratagems in like Virulent Vectorum, and it can actually do a lot of damage. You can genuinely shoot tanks to death with full rerolls to hit and wound. You fish for lethal hits and then you fish on the wound. And you'll put enough holes in something that it'll eventually fall over, which is pretty good. The only thing I don't tend to recommend on this squad is the flail. Now, the flail gives up your gun entirely, and it doubles your attacks at 1 less AP. So you lose 1 AP, you lose all your shooting attacks, and you gain 3 more attacks. That's okay, but I don't really tend to find it's worth it. Like, if I want a melee brawling Terminator, I'm going to pick the Death Shroud. These guys, I like the utility of having the guns. However, there is one exception. If you put a lot of contagion in this squad, doubling your attacks means double chances to get stuff like sustained in close combat with his rule, and the lance helps out their mediocre sort of strength at only strength 5, so +1 to wound is quite nice there. So that's the one time I would consider the flails. Par that, I'm usually looking at these guys either bare bones or with a lot of virulence and just mashing out the guns, and then you kind of charging to mop up what's left. But I'm not looking to have these guys go and fight my opponent's elite Terminators or, you know, elite infantry, because they just don't quite hit hard enough. That's the Death Shroud's job. But yeah, still overall, pretty damn good unit, and I think they'll see a lot more play in this book than they did in our index. Oh boy, Death Shroud, talk about the stars of the show right now. These guys are now a 4 wound Terminator, so same stats as before, but with 4 wounds now and toughness 7. That is a big deal in a meta full of 3 damage weapons. Now it takes 2 of those to go through to kill a single model. Having 4 wounds is massive. On top of this, if you have access to -1 damage in Virulent Vectorium, the damage 2 weapons now need 4 wounds to bring down a single guy to go through your invulnerable. So it's very, very, very strong defensively. They also have 2 attack profiles. You can slam for 2 damage at weapon skill 2 with 4 attacks each, or you can sweep for 8 attacks at weapon skill 3 and 1 damage. The maths on this get real messy because the slam is actually outdone by the sweep in certain instances against Marines if you have a lot of contagion, because even though it's only strength 4 the sweep, you're still wounding Marines on 2s with a lot of contagion because they go down to toughness 3 because you're nearby them, and then you get Lance on top of it. So you're actually just going to put a million saves on them, potentially at AP2, they're AP1 naturally, but again, -1 save contagion. But a lot of times you can also just slam and just be like, get out of it, get done with it. Now, that gives them a lot of versatility. It means you can't get bogged down, whereas Blight Lords can get bogged down. Only 3 attacks per guy. The entire squad only has 30 attacks. Odds say you're going to miss a third of them, so you don't get 20 hits. You can actually get bogged down by some of the more durable, like Swarm units. Death Shroud will not. 6 Death Shroud plus a Lord of Contagion will have 8 times 6, so 48 attacks, plus 10 off the Lords, 58 attacks, lethal sustained. Lance. That's going to cleave through most things and make sure this squad doesn't get tied up. On top of that, you also have pistol flamers. You have 7 in a squad of 6 because your sergeant dual wields them. Don't forget that. That can be shot in close combat. Not to mention, that torrent makes for really nasty Overwatch, and the fact it's anti-infantry 4-up means you're really going to like these guys with a lot of virulence as well as contagion, because then you can have a more shooty-focused squad. The Overwatch is absolutely horrendous on full rolls to hit. People walk near you, they've got to get a -1 save. Now suddenly you spray them and they get absolutely picked up. Pretty gross. These guys also get a 3 Icon of Despair. You don't have to take a shitty bolt like the Plague Marines do. The champion just holds it. So now you've got a free aura of -1 leadership as well, which is honestly not bad. It's a free upgrade. You take it. You take it. And if you've got any strats that like Flyblown, who has take a battle shock at -1, rest in peace Flyblown. Now it's -2, so it makes that actually really reliable. It's really good. But the big meat and potatoes is the 6-inch deep strike. If an enemy unit is afflicted, you can deep strike within 6 inches of that target. You can appear right near them, 6 inches away, and still be able to charge. Now, this does work in rapid ingress. People, before you comment, there was a change to people rapid ingressing. It was done specifically to data sheets like Inceptors and Aquilons. But there is no generic rule to say you can't rapid ingress with less than 9. So as of right now, these guys can 100% rapid ingress 9. Rapid ingress 6. It might get changed in the future, but as it is right now, there is nothing against it. You can obviously charge if you deep strike 6 in your own turn, because you just appear and then can charge. It doesn't say you can't charge, which is great. But do bear in mind, you have to still be 9 inches away from all non-afflicted units. So if your opponent spaces it well, they can actually still counterplace a little bit. But being able to not rely on rapid ingress for these guys to be able to make combat, like just dropping in and knowing you need to roll a 6 is a pretty decent charge. And being able to make combat in your turn and get instant value is a big glow up for these guys in terms of them applying their damage. On top of the 4 wounds as well, and giving a feel no pain to any character, which again lasts an entire phase. So if I get charged by 8 wardens, or 8 custodes, whatever, and they kill all my Death Shroud, and then my character starts taking damage and the same unit is swinging at them, the character, even though the Death Shroud are dead, will still get the 4 feel no pain because it is in the same activation, which is really good for keeping that Lord of Contagion around to make sure he swings back, which is nice. Also protection against precision, etc. These guys are going to show up a lot, but don't feel like you have to put a character with them always. A lot of people are realizing the characters make them a bit too expensive. So running 3 bare bones Death Shroud at 140 with the utility of just being able to drop in 6 and charge and kill most things in the game that they touch, that is more than enough value without the character. But if you really want to make sure something dies, Lord of Contagion, it's going to die. They're a great unit. Absolutely fantastic. Chaos Spawn. Chaos Spawn are fun little guys. Not only are they toughness 7 with a 5 up, feel no pain, they've also got Scout, which poxwalkers can infiltrate to guarantee you get off, which is nice. They're also our fastest non-vehicle unit. They move 8 inches and can go through walls, which is great. So it means they can spread contagion really easily, get to places to do actions, get to objectives, threaten charges. Really, really nice. Now, the magic of the spawn, though, is not only are they kind of annoying to kill for the points, like 80 points for toughness 7, 4 up save, 5 up feel no pain is kind of weirdly annoying to kill, but also, if an opponent in close combat swings at your spawn and wounds them, they have to wound them, you roll a dice for every wound that was successful against you, up to 6 maximum, and every 4 up you're going to deal a mortal wound back to the unit that swung at you. So it's basically a free grenade on the way down. This is really funny because a lot of the times you can like run in, kill some chaff, and especially if it's a melee matchup, they charge you. You've already killed some chaff, denied some primary, you've already got your points back, and now the sanguinary guard just fly over, pick you up dead easy, but on the way out, you just take one out for free. We're just like, yeah, have 3 mortal wounds on average, you die as well. Like, just picking up an elite model for free is just like pretty gross, because it's just like, oh, okay, I'm already dead. I'm going to take that 40-point model with me as well. So it's like, cool, I'll just take 50% of my unit's value back on the way out. Really, really funny when it goes off. And obviously, even if they wound you, but you save it or make you feel no pains, you still get to roll it. So technically, a unit could roll to wound you, you spike your feel no pains, take no damage, and then still deal the mortal wounds back to them and kill a model, which again is really funny. These guys are great, though. They're cheapish enough. They're cheap enough. 80 points, 2 of them. The Scout and the move 8 just lets you get really early contagion. Also great for setting up Death Shroud deep strikes because you can move 8, advance, get something in contagion, now drop Death Shroud on them. You can just go do actions with them. Again, it's 80 points. You not really care what they're doing. They can just stand on an objective later in the game. That's also fine. Just go tie something up, move block something even. Or maybe there's like a, maybe there's a Redemptor Dreadnought on 1 wound and you've got nothing that can shoot it. Just run your spawn into it. Go kamikaze that spawn into that guy. Get hit. Splash a mortal wound onto it. Take it out with you. It's better than leaving it alive on 1 wound for an entire another turn. I'll tell you that for sure. These are really good. They're in contention for poxwalkers. A lot of lists at the moment can start almost like 2 poxwalkers, 2 spawn. But I've seen people just running 3 spawn and no poxwalkers. And these are kind of like an early game, spread contagion, do actions, get early primary on secondaries. And for that role, they're absolutely fantastic. If you don't own any spawn, 100% go pick up some spawn. The Gellerpox Infected, which you can see on the screen here, make a great Nurgle proxy spawn. And you just need to get a bit of a bigger base for them to match normal spawn if you don't like the normal spawn kit. But I really rate spawn, and I think you should give them a go. Rhino, the humblest of vehicles, the best of vehicles. This is a simple transport. It carries 12 models. It has a 12-inch move, which is the fastest of the vehicles that we have. And it has a firing deck of 2, which means you can pick 2 embarked models and shoot their gun out of the top hatch, as if it was the Rhino shooting it. What this means is you can pick melter guns, for example. You can drive up to a tank, shoot 2 melters out the top hatch and potentially pop it. Really good. It also means you can spray flamers out the top. 2d6 anti-infantry flamers, yes please, or my favourite, the Plague Bus. 2 malignant playcasters shooting out the top of this thing, 2d6 plus 6 shots, strength 6, AP 2, D3 damage, AP 3 if I get you in contagion range. That's a spicy meatball. Just remember, you can't overwatch with the firing deck, but it is really, really nice. Not only that, the Rhino also gives any unit that disembarks from it, as long as the Rhino shoots a target, that target will now be marked for the disembarking unit to get 4 rolls to wound against it. It's an incredible force multiplayer. You drive up, shoot a single bolter, and now your 10 plague marines that just disembarked are going to have full wound rerolls for the shooting phase. What? Brilliant, brilliant. Like, you can't... Full wound rerolls, okay, sure, I'll take that. It's really good. Now, bear in mind, you can't split fire the Rhino and apply this debuff to different units. You had to pick one of the units you shot. So just pick one, shoot it, and then fire with the squad inside and pick up whatever was left. Really good rule. And don't forget, the Rhino has a lot of random shots. You can take 2 plague combi bolters, so that's 8 shots with lethal hits, and a Havoc Launcher. This thing, with -1 save, can shoot Eldar squads to death. I've had it. I've drove around a corner, shot like 5 fire dragons, and just killed them all because I'm wounding them on 2s. I'm hitting them on 3s, wounding them on 2s with a lot of shots, and then they have a -1 save, so they're saving it on 4s, and every single one is a dead guy. Like, You can shoot quite a bit of chaff to death with these rhinos. So don't ever forget to shoot your rhino. It really adds up, especially if you're rocking -1 save. It really, really adds up. Now, obviously, I recommend rhinos always if you're running Plague Marines. A walking Plague Marine is a dead Plague Marine. Rhinos are important and so central to any Plague Marine strategy. Please, I know it's not the most exciting unit. I know it's a bit boring to build and buy and paint. But if you haven't got rhinos and you want to run Plague Marines and you love Plague Marines, please go buy a rhino. At least one rhino. Just when you learn how good rhinos are and all the utility they bring to your guys, you just stage it. Stage it behind a wall. Now you can jump out 8 anytime, go charge something. They're so good. Please, I'm going to do a full video on rhino tactics, actually. Sod it. But yeah, rhinos. You're going to want them. You're running Plague Marines, you're running rhinos. Not even a question asked. Okay, Fetid Bloat Drone. This is the normal version that can take either a Flesh Mower or a Plague Spitter. It is relatively fast for us, a 10-inch move, which is really nice. Now, it's a Demon Engine. Demon Engines all get a 5-up invulnerable. This 5-up invulnerable will save your ass. This thing will live when it has no right to at times. I've had my good friend Rory swing at this with a bunch of Custodes, put 9 wounds on it at AP3, and I was like, cool, 5 invulnerables, and I passed every single one of them. It will happen. It is vile, but that 5-up invulnerable against stuff like Melter, Fire Dragons, oh no, it's like AP4, AP5, don't care, I got a 5-up invulnerable. And when you spike it, oh, it feels so, so good. Just give a quick sip. Now, these are a skirmish/trade unit. This means these are the units that are making first contact with the enemy. They are 90 points. They are so stupidly cheap for a toughness 9, 10 wound, 3-up save, 5-up invulnerable Demon Engine. These guys will go out and fight stuff like Scout Marines, Jump Intercessors, and they will batter them. Other skirmishing units in other armies cannot fight Bloat Drones. That is what is so good about them. It forces your opponent to commit resources to kill them. You need to bring out a tank to kill this thing, but it's only 90 points. And if you don't, it'll have a field day because it can fall back, shoot, and charge. So it can fall back, it can charge something, kill it. If it survives in your turn, you fall back, you shoot it, you charge it again, you go somewhere else, you charge somewhere else, you shoot somewhere else. It's all been annoying. Your opponent has to deal with it. And that means exposing something. So if they have to expose a Gladiator, Lancer, or a Predator to shoot this thing and kill it, that means your own anti-tank, like your Predators, we don't have Gladiators, can then swing and shoot at their tank first. They're great for forcing your opponent to interact with you and forcing them out of their little deployment zone. So really good early skirmish and trade unit. Now the 2 weapon options, you have 2d6 anti-infantry 2 flamers, really good. They're only 1 damage, but the fact that they just auto-hit, don't have to worry about ballistic skill, and they wound all infantry in the game on 2s, just really good bullying unit harassment. And then if the unit survives in the next turn, if it wants to move to get away or do an action, you can overwatch it or auto-hit it because it's a torrent weapon, and once again you wounded it on 2s. You basically got 2 shooting phases for free. It's really good. So I really like the Spitters. It's more like a board control piece with the Spitters, but it's very nice. Now the Flesh Mower draws a lot more attention because those things look real scary. They're actually not that scary. Like, they got a lot of attacks at strength 7, AP 1, 2 damage. But every time I've had them go in, I've been fairly whelmed. Like, they're okay. Like, don't get me wrong, they'll kill a couple Marines, that's fine. But they look really scary. So if you want to shit your opponent up and make them react to drones, just run 2 Flesh Mowers down a flank, and I promise you your opponent will react every damn time. And the flat 2 damage does help if you're in more of a Marine meta than the Spitters, because they're only 1 damage. So, but both of these units are performing the same role. Early skirmishing, harassing your opponent's natural objective, and trying to force your opponent to commit to the fight before you do. They're a fantastic unit for the job, and when your opponent shoots them and you pass those 5-up invulnerables on the Melter, and you get to live, and you fall back, and then you charge something else, tank shock and kill that, and then do some more damage, it's really funny and it really frustrates your opponent. Fantastic unit. Heavy Bloat Launcher Bloat Drone. This is the big boy of the moment. 100 points for this thing is a bit daft. D6 plus 2 shots, blast, strength 10, lethal hits, AP 2, flat 3 damage. Mamma mia, that's a spicy meatball. This guy is your long range, chip away, do good damage, kill elites. And also it's my favourite looking weapon on the Bloat Drone. I have had this one for a long time. I've used him for a long time. I am the meta. 3 of these guys in a list is going to be quite common at the moment. 2 or 3. 100 points is just silly for what they do. They're a great little fire base. They only have tiny bases as well. They only take up a tiny bit of space, so you can easily get 3 of them. Hide in, they can spread out. They've got great synergy with Lord of Virulence to give them full rerolls to hit. Virulent Vectorum lets them reroll the shot amount. They're just super good. On top of that, they've still got the 5-up Demon Engine save, so, you know, they can just spike against those last cannons that are firing back at them, which is really funny. So that's really nice. However, the difference between these and the previous ones, the previous drones are more of an aggressive trade piece. These are more like a long-range fire-based piece. So these aren't going to be flying forward because these guys also can't fall back, shoot, and charge. They can be tagged in close combat, and because it's a blast weapon, they can't shoot into the combat that they're in, so they can't shoot themselves free. So they're very prone to getting gunked up and stuck in combat. So you need to make sure there is stuff protecting these guys from getting tagged, and that they're staying away from the melee fights, okay? Now, they do have a weird rule where any unit they kill, you roll a dice, and it's a 4-up if it was afflicted, or a 5-up otherwise. Every enemy unit within 6 of it is now also afflicted. This is interesting because it allows you to sort of chain reaction it and get extra afflictions going, which is nice. Affliction is very powerful. Obviously, Deathlord's Chosen, for example. You could kill a unit, spread it to a load of others, and then in the command phase roll for mortal wounds on them all. That's real fun. And do bear in mind, it's every time a unit is destroyed. So if there is a 5-man squad of a character, one of these shoots, God rolls it, your opponent fails every single save, kills them all. You'd actually roll twice because the unit itself, the bodyguard unit, is a unit, and the character is also a unit. So when that unit dies, you actually get to roll 2d6 and potentially have 2 chances at spreading contagion. So just bear that in mind. It's a fun little thing you can do with it. But you don't need to explain these guys very much. They are going to be sitting on your flanks. You can either bunch them together or spread them out. Again, the good thing about Lord of Virulence, you don't have to be near him to get the buff. He picks an enemy target, so you can play these guys on different flanks. You don't have to sit together. That also stops them getting tagged as easy. You don't want to have all 3 together, because if a melee unit tags one, there's a good chance they can tag all 3, and they're all shut down then. Whereas if you have them spread out, it's much harder to shut down, and you get better angles in general, because you're covering more of the board. These guys, you're going to see a lot right now. I expect them to go up in points probably on the first balance update, but they're not too egregious. They are pretty egregious, don't get me wrong, but honestly, like, they're not, like, people are making it like it's the second coming of Jesus, this unit. It's a very good unit. Flat 3 damage is excellent, but, like, there's going to be time, especially when you're not playing Virulent Vectorum, where you roll 1 on the shots. And it's 3 shots. It's 3 shots at strength 10, AP 2, 3 damage. Like, come on. We've seen better on other units. It's not the craziest thing in the world. But what it is, it's a fantastic little unit, floats around, shoots things, long range, good little defensive profile, and it's only 100 points. You're going to see these a lot. Yes, if you don't have some, maybe buy 2. Maybe don't go for 3. It's probably going to get nerfed. But 2 should be still a safe bet. Safe. These little guys, Mythic Blight Haulers, these guys are so overlooked at the moment. These guys are great little things. They're 90 points, just like the cheap bloat drones before. They have the 5 invulnerable demon engine. These guys have the smoke keyword, which means you can smoke screen them for -1 to be hit, which is important because we've lost Cloud of Flies from the index. So if you want to be able to just get cover and -1 to hit on demand, you can do that with these little guys, which is great. Their multi-melt has been improved. It now has lethal hits, which really helps them punch up into harder targets. And they also get +1 to hit and wound. And they learn how to shoot monsters as well, because now they get those bonuses versus vehicles and monsters. So that's great. It's fantastic. These little guys, just 90 points. They're small. They're annoying. They can hide in buildings because they're not as tall as bloat drones. They can come in from strategic reserves, shoot something. And if it connects, it can do quite a bit of damage. You're hitting on 2s. If a Lord of Virulence has marked a target, you're now hitting on 2s, you're rolling 1s. So you're pretty much getting those hits. And you're going to wound... The worst case, you're wounded on 4s. Best case, you can be wounded on 2s. Toughness 9, you get them in affliction range. You put them to T8, your strength 9 with +1 to wound. That's pretty good. So you're hitting on 2s, rolling 1s, wounded on 2s in that instance. AP potentially 5 if you're in -1 save contagion. So unless they've got an invul, they're probably not getting a save. And it's just flat D6 damage or D6 +2 if you're within half range. These little chompers are great. They're super cheap. You don't care if you lose them. The opponent, again, has to expend an actual resource to kill this thing, just like the bloat drones, because it's got the same defensive stat line. And if ignored, these little things, I've shot an enemy Mortari I did 12 damage to him. Like, they can just pop off because Melter is Melter. If Melter connects on the right target, you roll the 2s to hit, you get them. You roll the 3s to wound, you get them. Your opponent fails the 6 or 5 up save they had, and then suddenly you just go a 4 and a 5 on the damage, and it's +4, so it's like, cool, you just take 13 die, bang. Like, 90 points. Great little demon engine. They also come in units of 1 to 2, so you can have 2 in a unit, which allows you to get some more stratagem efficiency out of them. So if you have, smoke, now both of those models are getting smoke, which is really good. You can also rapid ingress both of them together on a flank and then drive up to a tank and obliterate it. They're really cool little guys, honestly. And they're also annoyingly like tar pity as well because they have an okay melee profile. It's not nothing crazy, but it's like AP2 base, 1 damage, but like you can make it AP3, just run into someone with like 4 attacks each, just chomp 2 marines to death on average. It's not bad. It's not bad. They're a fun little thing. And I honestly think these are being so overlooked at the moment. And I will definitely be taking 2 in my list at the moment because I think they're just a fantastic little utility piece. And again, because of the 90 points, you don't really care if you just sit doing an action as well because you're not losing out like a Defiler or something. He's just going to do his little action and then be right back in the fight next turn. What a little unit. What a chad. Plague Burst Crawler. One of my absolute favourite units that has been nerfed. I am an indirect abuser. I like the defensive playstyle that PBCs offer, and I like being able to hide behind walls and shell my opponent. It's funny. They have taken nerfs. Obviously, the indirect nerf, now they hit on 4s with indirect, which sucks, but it's fair enough. Does get helped out by Lord of Virulence now, potentially giving them 4 rerolls to hit, because they can hit on 4s with 4 rerolls out of line of sight, which is good. They have a 2-up base save, which is actually kind of good. It means in cover, they're going to have effectively a 1-up save, which is nice. It means you can save las cannons, for example, on 4s, which is a lot better than 5s. They still do have that backup 5-up invulnerable, though, in case you get shot by something like a Volcano Lance. You still have a 5-up invulnerable. Again, it's really funny when you just spike your 5-ups. Now, these guys, they splash mortal wounds, so you shoot a target. Every unit within 3 of them rolls a dice. On a 6, they take D3 mortal wounds. It's a 5 if the unit is afflicted. So you get a bit of AoE splash mortal wounds. It's not too bad. The main problem with these guys is they are expensive. They are 195 points. It is ridiculous. These guys are not worth 195 points. Like, they need to come down. 180 was fine. Like, it was still a bit too much, but 195 is so many points for these things. They're not even like T11 or anything. They're just T10. 2-up save is nice, but it's not unkillable. But 195 is a hard pill to swallow. But if you're going to take PBCs, they still can find use. It's not a bad choice. It's just an expensive choice, which pains me because I really like these things. They can actually perform multiple roles. You can run them as a standard main battle tank. Keep a bit of your ass behind some cover so you got a 1-up save. Take the entropy cannons and just exchange shots with other tanks. You've got a 1-up save in cover. A lot of the tanks in the game have a 3-up save, so you have a bit of defensive advantage there. Entropy cannons are now 36 in its range with lethal hits, which is nice, helps them in that long-range tank fights, and you can shoot your mortar directly, and you've got a nice little lethal hit machine gun. Not bad. You can also use them as an aggressive bully unit. This is the point where the points hurt. When these guys were cheap, you would run them at your opponent, abuse the fact it's a 2-up save profile with the flamers, get in your opponent, tag stuff, sit in the middle of your opponent's army doing donuts while spraying flamers everywhere. At the moment, with how expensive they are, I don't see this being viable, but bear in mind if points do change, that could be a playstyle that opens up back again. And obviously, this is great as a backfield artillery piece. Sit behind terrain, chip away at your opponent, kill some important assets, and then use them to come out with their defensive profiles later on. That's a very common way to play this unit. This unit really wants a Lord of Virulence and a Defiler if possible. Being able to get full roll hits from indirect and ignore cover really helps out the natural AP1. So if you get them in Contagion, it's now AP2 ignore cover, which used to be the common combo we used to use with Boil Blight back in the Index. And that actually makes that more actually start picking up infantry quite reliably. But that's a lot of points to support what is already an incredibly expensive unit. I honestly don't see this unit seeing much play outside of Mortarian's Hammer, because that gives it the ability to just pick a unit and put it in Contagion, which is nice, and it has all the strats for vehicles. But at 195 points, it is such a hard pill to swallow, and it makes me sad because I do rate them still. I still think they're a good unit, but given how everything else in that army got more expensive, trying to find the points for this thing, it's It's rough. Yeah, I won't lie, it's very rough. But still a good fun unit. If you enjoy the tank, you can definitely still play them and get use out of them. It's just might be limited to 1 or 2 detachments, and that's kind of where they'll shine in competitive scene. But casual games, they're still totally fine. Don't worry about it. I like them still. They're just... Come on, GW, stop raising the points on my goddamn Plague Burst crawlers. We started at like 160 and now we're at 195. Stop this. And they're worse. Stop it. Okay, Predator Destructor. Predator Destructor. It has a now strength 9. It just got nerfed, thanks GW. Couldn't even have it for a day. It was probably a typo, to be fair. It was strength 10 in the Codex. It will say strength 10 in your written Codex, but it is actually strength 9 due to a recent FAQ. Annoying, I know. It's AP 1 and a flat 3 damage. We've already talked at length why flat 3 damage is good. Flat 3 damage, surprisingly, is good. Lots of elites in the game. It kills them in one hit. Really nice. It's also a force multiplier. Basically, after it's shot, you pick one non-vehicle, non-monster target that it hit, and for the rest of the phase, all of your army gets +1 AP versus that target. Now, it does not stack. You can't put +3 AP on something with 3 predators, but it's a really good way, because combined with -1 save contagion, now that's like +2 AP, which is grim. Like, that will death sentence something. The problem is, the Predator itself doesn't benefit from it. So the Predator itself can be a bit lacking in its output, at least the first one. When the second one shoots, if they shoot the same target, it's going to start kicking in. But what it does have is a lot of guns. It's got the autocannon, it's got a combi bolter, it's got a havoc launcher, it's got heavy bolter sponsons, or las cannon sponsons. Now, the choice of sponsons comes down to this. Do you like reliable damage? Take their plague heavy bolters. Lethal and sustained often means even against tough tanks, you'll probably chip 2 to 4 damage off it. You won't ever like one-shot something, really, but you can reliably at least take some damage off it. And against infantry, it's obviously very good. Las cannons have a much greater chance of doing jack shit, but they also, when they do connect, have a much higher chance of just one-tapping something. So are you a gambling man? Take the las cannons. Are you just consistent Joe? Take the heavy bolters. Now, do bear in mind, these are our squishiest vehicle. They are a 3-up save with no fucking invuln. If a melter so much as looks at these guys, good night, Predator. You're out of here. You have been predated. Predated? Predatored? You've been killed. So keep them away from those scary melt weaponry and those heavy AP weapons. Use their improved range. These guys have much larger range than other tanks to try and keep at arm's length. But in general, it is a great all-purpose tank. Again, like I said, you increase army-wide AP for your army. That's just good. It's got plenty of lethal hits. It also makes this thing kind of scary in Overwatch because any hit you get is going to be a lethal. The autocannon's lethal. The plague bottles are lethal and sustained, so not only do they auto-wound, you then get an extra hit. The Havoc Launcher is not lethal, admittedly, but the Plague Bolt on it is as well. The Plague Combi Bolter. So they're actually pretty good at Overwatch. I've Overwatched Dark Reapers and killed 4 of them out of 5 just by getting the couple 6s. So never underestimate this thing's ability to Overwatch. And again, it can pack some anti-tank. You can put some las cannons on it if you want to. This makes it a jack-of-all-trades tank. It's decent, it's pretty good at everything, can shoot into harder targets with our -1 toughness, can actually hurt them a little bit. Every shot that goes through is doing flat 3 damage, which is good, like genuinely. But it's really good at shooting infantry. It's good at supporting the rest of your army with its ability where it increases AP. And again, it's okay durable. It's squishy, but it's still a toughness 10 tank. So it's not going to die to like bolters. So for what it is, it's a tank. And it does tank things, which is good. Like, we like tanks. We like shooting long range, flat 3 damage, good. Lethal hits, good. Solid tank. 145 is a little spenny for me. With the strength 10 cannon, I liked it. Down to strength 9 on the cannon, I wish this would come down to like 140. Just the 5 points here and there means bringing 2 of them saves you 10, or down to 135. It feels like you would take one of this thing to just spread the debuff, or you take 2 of them, they kind of work in pairs to either spread debuffs everywhere, or to first one mark a debuff, and then second one kill it. So you can consider it like that. They hunt in pairs. They're paired predators. Speaking about predators, the Annihilator, it's shit. I'll be blunt. It has 3 last cannon shots, one of which is slightly better than the others. It has higher strength and twin linked. After you've shot, you have a chance to deal D3 mortal wounds to something you hit. On a unit that is looking to one-tap stuff, you want to connect with last cannons and kill it. You don't want to connect with the las cannons and chip at it and then do some more chip damage and mortal wounds. No, it doesn't make any sense. The rules on this were bad in the index. Then they changed them to make them slightly better and they became kind of playable. And then they just, in the Codex, made them shitter again and raised the points. It's a bad tank. Like, I'm just going to be honest. Now, if you are looking for anti-tank, you're in a weird meta where there's just goddamn tanks, the guard player won't stop bringing 12 Lehman Russes, then sure, bring some along. Like, you're going to need all the anti-tank you can get. It's our longest ranged anti-tank and our highest strength anti-tank shooting, but it is a complete casino cannon with only 3 shots, and every single one of them shots needs to hit on 3s, wound on 3s, then get through a save, and then the d6 plus 1 damage. There is no worse feeling than getting a las cannon through and rolling a goddamn 1. It happens way too often, but at the same time, you could get all hits. You could wound them all. Your opponent fails the saves, and then one bam, gone. It's a complete coin flip, and one thing in competitive we don't tend to want is coin flips. Like, you want consistency, and this thing isn't it. But if you're really strapped for, like, you know, whether it's anti-tank firepower or points, I mean, just get a hauler, please, and save yourself the 40-point difference as well. But if you really wanted to just flip the coin, you're a gambling man, it's there for you, but this is in my opinion, like, probably the worst unit in here. Not the worst unit, though, is the Defiler. This guy is undercosted as hell. He's no reason to be 165 points. He is toughness 11, 14 wounds with that all-important demon engine invulnerable, so he can randomly shrug stuff. T11 is a big deal against a lot of the strength 10 weapons in the game. Defiler shooting Defiler, that's annoying because that battle cannon now needs 5s to wound instead of 4s. Again, Liam Russes, etc. Anything with strength 10, annoying. Now, the best setup for this thing is with the Power Scourge. Don't take any other gun on the arm, it's not worth it. Take the extra melee attacks it gives, and then either take the bolter, or the twin-linked bolter, or the twin-linked las cannon on the other arm. I prefer the bolter, personally. Again, I like reliability. Same argument as the sponsons on the Predator Destructor. Do you want reliability? Do you want a casino cannon? Now, this thing can also move over friendly vehicles and monsters and terrain that is 4 inches lower, which again really depends on your terrain setup. I'm in UKTC land where every ruin is minimum 4.1 because fucking reasons, thanks Zach. No offense, Zach. Just makes me laugh. Please make them 4 inches, please. But you can walk over friendly vehicles, which stops you getting car park jammed. Which is, you know, decent. It stops you getting stuck there for quite a bit. Means you can move a bit easier, even though they're not easy to move because these models are massive. They're big boys, and they only move 8. So it's quite easy to get stuck still, even with those abilities. So having anything that can help that out is a little bit better. What the good thing about the Defiler is, though, par its guns, where it rocks a massive battle cannon and the side weapon. The battle cannon being a strength 10 AP1 lethal hits, flat 3 damage again. We like that flat 3 number. Blast weapon, Lord of Virulence, hello. Defiler, hello. Bloat Drones, hello. Lots of blast, lots of rerolls. Very good. So, on top of that, you also have melee. This thing can protect itself. It is a firing platform that can fight. It is a battle tank with claws. And the claws are strength 16 las cannons. They are strength 16, they're AP3, D6 plus 1 damage. They will fuck shit up. Anything comes close to them, if it gets close to a tank, it will rip it apart. But the biggest problem I see with these people, when they run these units, they run them forward. This is not a unit that runs at your opponent. I know it looks like it, but it is not. It is first and foremost a gun platform with claws. You run this thing forward, it will die. It is not that durable, and it is a massive target, and it will draw a lot of attention. What you want to do with this thing is make use of its rule to strip cover. When you shoot an enemy unit, you pick it at the end of the shooting, at the end of its activation, and that unit can no longer get cover. This works for allies as well, because it's not your Death Guard gets ignore cover, the enemy unit cannot gain cover. So you can help allies out. You bring some knights along, now they're ignoring cover, your predators ignoring cover, your heavy bloat drones, the beloved, are ignoring cover, another Defiler is ignoring cover. That's a very powerful rule to have. Combine this with the Predator Destructor, now it's plus 1 AP and ignore cover. That's going to add up, and that is going to be a real death sentence. So keep these guys back, make use of that rule, shoot that amazing battle cannon profile, shoot that heavy bolter. And the good thing about these, where most tanks are scared about getting pressured. Like, you got your Predator, your little Predator. Oh no, there's an enemy melee unit. They're getting in close. That's real bad. Like, they're going to punch my tank. Defiler, look at it. Snippy snip, snip snip. Crab meta. Sure, come in, charge me. I'm going to heroic intervention. And he protects your other tanks. I have my Bloat Drones next to my Defiler. You want to charge this thing and get heroic by that crab there? Like, feel free, buddy. Like, I'll smack you around. There's no problem for the Defiler. And that's also why you take the Scourge for the even extra melee power. It's a great charge deterrent on its own because it has the ability to defend itself and protect its other tanks in the gun line. Do not run this towards your opponent. Use it as a support piece, a firing platform, and when your opponent tries to pressure your gun line to shut you down, then you unleash the crab, okay? Crab is very good, very undercosted. Pain in the ass model to move around, but I love crab. Crab good, crab fun. And the model's like Marmite. People hate it, people love it. I love it. I think it's so derpy, but I think it's great. I got into the game through Dawn of War, so this thing is perfect for me. The Hellbrute, talk about not perfect. Oh, this guy just doesn't do anything. Look, it's a Hellbrute. It's not much to talk about. It can take a bunch of weapons. It's not bad. Like, the weapon variety is okay. Its rule is it gets +1 to wound versus afflicted targets. That's it. Part of that, it's got a 2-up save, but only got like 8 wounds. It's toughness 9. Like, it genuinely just feels so awkward. It doesn't do anything. Like, if you take both melee weapons on it, so you take no guns, you get +2 attacks. Now there's something to be said about this guy just rapid ingressing in, because with the +1 to wound, because if they're near you, they'll be afflicted, you can wound pretty much every unit on the game on 2s. Because you bring toughness 12 down to T11, you get +1 to wound it, the strength 12 on the fist, 2s. Only T13 where you wound on 3s, and they're not that common. So you could make an argument to put this guy in reserves, rapid ingress him on, walk up and just start punching stuff. The problem is he's also kind of slow. He moves like 7, which is slow. So if I'm going to bring something in from reserves to go and just punch something and obliterate it, I'm just going to pay like the extra like 30 points for a Carnivore. Because the Carnivore moves 14, gets to reroll its charge for free, has a D6 +2 damage weapon, and has OC 8. It's not even close. Like, if you're considering a Hellbrute, please look at a War Dog Carnivore ally instead, because I think you'll just get more out of it. If you're really strapped for points and you really like the model, by all means, feel free to use him, but he's just not great. Like, he doesn't do anything. There's so many better units in that army that buff of a unit. Like, Defiler strips cover Predators, increase AP. This guy is just, I get to +1 to wound something with mediocre weapons. Like, it's not a world eater's Hellbrute, that is for sure. Unfortunately, not much good to say about Mr. Hellbrute. And then the Land Raider, Zito's chosen favourite Land Raider. The Land Raider is a toughness 12, 2-up save, armoured fucking transport. It can carry 14 models, it can carry Terminators. Every Terminator costs 2 slots, but you can bring 6 Death Shroud and a character in there, because that is a 7, which brings us to 14. And what makes this thing cool is after it is moved, you can disembark like you can a Rhino, but this unit can still charge. You can move 10, disembark 3, charge. That is a 13-inch move and charge. That is much faster than a 5-inch move Death Shroud. It is an incredibly high pressure unit. You don't play around with Land Raider. You drive it forward, you get your guys out, you put pressure on your opponent from the get-go. This is not a sit back and wait man's toy. This is that I'm going in hard chief. So if you want to be an aggressive player, like our people that we have in our Discord, like Zito, etc., you want to get in people's faces and just make the fights get on from the get-go, Land Raiders are an extremely fun choice. And they're not even too expensive, like 255 or 245. Not too bad. They also are packing 4 las cannon shots, which is always decent. And you've got the Plague Heavy Bolter, plus you've got a Combi Bolter and a Havoc Launcher. It's got quite a lot of like random shots. And the las cannons can always just Casino Cannon and one-tap something. And again, it is toughness 12, 2-up save with 16 wounds. It's not the easiest thing to put down. It's not the hardest against dedicated anti-tank like Fire Dragons. But it is tough to kill for armies that don't have great anti-tank. And again, you get to put Death Shroud or Plague Marines in an opponent's face off the rip. If you are an aggressive player that likes to bully your opponent all game, try and keep them trapped, try and keep their primary low, Land Raiders are overlooked, in my opinion. Like, we have seen a lot of our community go 4-on-1 with Land Raiders by being aggressive. Now, are they a 5-0 meta unit? Debatable. Not so much at massive events, but you can still 5-0 GT with Land Raider. But it's very much a specific playstyle, and if you enjoy it, you'll get a lot out of it. And in Mortarian's Hammer, where it can drive through walls, it gets even better. Because the biggest problem with this thing is the size of it. It's very telegraphed where it's going to go, because there's usually only one spot on a board you can deploy the damn thing, because it's massive. And because it's massive, it has limited movement as well. But if you're going to use it, you're already going to be as blunt as you can. It's a blunt force tool. You're going to drive straight at your opponent, smash some guys out, go charge stuff, shoot stuff, go from the rip, full exhaust down to full throttle down to the floor. Very fun unit. I enjoy it when I play it. Is it the most competitive? No, but there's just something about putting a Land Raider out there. So if you're you're not super interested in like doing the best you can, and you just want to have a fun damn game, get a Land Raider. It's so much fun to mess around with. They're really, really funny. And that brings us to the Miasmic Malignifier, the best unit in the book, the Plague Bong, the 12-inch Deep Strike Denial King. It's super cute. Look at that damn thing. It takes up a lot of space. It's banned at most events, probably because it's overpowered. It is the peak of Giga Chadness. If you run a Miasmic Malignifier and you win with a Miasmic Malignifier, you are instantly promoted to Chief Librarian Death Shroud guy. You are him. You are the Warhammer 40,000. This unit is truly unstoppable. As you can see, 100% in everything. It is by far the real Plague Bong. And if you win with this one in your side, well, you're obviously going to win. It's the Plague Bong. No one can fight back. What a great unit. What a fantastic unit. Absolute peak. In every list. Every list. Promise. Definitely not sarcastic. But I mean, it has a 12-inch Deep Strike Denial bubble. No. it's fun, but it's funny. But no, sorry, there's not much to say. It's a fortification. They don't really see play. But if you want to be a Chad, take one, flex on your opponent, and have a laugh with it. And that brings us to the end of this hour-long video almost. Jesus Christ. Oh, I'm alive just. Thank you so much for everyone for sticking with me for all that. I know it's a lot of information. We'll obviously have in the detachment videos, we're going to have combo videos, so we'll talk about units in specific detachments more in detail in those. This was just an overview, but thank you for sticking with us. Again, check out our friends at Vanguard Tactics for battle reports. There's also an offer for a masterclass in the description below. If you want to buy some models, check out Element Games for our affiliate link in the description below. If you're in the UK, we get a bit of kickback. It's very nice. Check out our friends at Saltire Games, that way, on the end. They make gaming aids for Death Guard. I think they're working on a new set to do with all the afflicted tokens, etc. So keep your eyes out for that. And of course, thank you to our YouTube members. You guys help us keep making the content, motivating us, and it is an awesome community. And last but not least, thank you for watching, the viewer, the humble lasgun guy, the guardsman who's looking at becoming a Death Guard pro, I'm sure. Thank you so much for sitting through all of this. I hope you enjoyed it, and there's still plenty more to come. But for now, take care. I will catch you on the next episode. Stay rotten, everybody. Bye-bye. See you later, guys.